I know you keep telling yourself that you're gonna stop being anxious this year. You wanna be confident. You don't wanna overthink anymore. You're gonna stop self-doubting, yet you are still stuck. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why this is happening. And it might not be what you think it is. It's not because you don't have the mindset done, but it's because you don't have the embodiment aligned with it. Let me tell you what I mean and what to actually do about it. Recently, I've been noticing a trend among some of y'all that DM me or some of my clients, and they come up to me and they say, Jeanette, I feel like I'm doing the personal development work. I'm reading a lot of self-help books. I'm journaling. I'm even doing some of the affirmations, and I know them by heart by now. But when it comes time to actually speaking up and showing up, I choke out. I feel stuck, and I shrink, and I overthink. And the simple answer I give them each time is that they are stuck in their mind because they are trying to outthink the confidence. Which means that confidence is not only something that happens in the mind, but also the body. Because the same way that stress and trauma shows up because the body keeps score, for those of y'all who understand the reference will get this, but the same way that it keeps score, where our jaw locks, our shoulders are tense, our heart's pumping whenever we're stressed, is the same way that confidence also needs to align with how we feel in our body. So in those moments when we are still feeling stressed and we're trying to rewire our mindset and go in with a different perspective, we also need to learn how to regulate our nervous system. Here's the part that a lot of people miss, because your nervous system does not respond to your thoughts. Rather, it responds to how you move, how you decide to breathe, how you decide to act, how you decide to regulate your whole body. And that's embodiment. Because you're not going to become that best version of yourself by thinking about her, but you're going to become her by acting like her. If you're watching and wondering, okay, what does that even mean? How do I act like someone I don't know exists yet? I'm going to guide you through an exercise with practical steps, and this is an exercise you can use throughout your day-to-day life. Whenever you're feeling anxious, whenever you're feeling stuck, and you need a reminder that this is who you embody. So, take a second to put down your phone. And I want you to close your eyes and be intentional. I want you to place your left hand on your heart center, and I want you to place your other hand on your stomach. All right, and I'll take a deep breath. I'll count from 3, 2, 1, and we're gonna take 3 deep breaths. All right, I want you to breathe in through your nose and then breathe out with your mouth. All right, whenever you're ready, I'll count you down from 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in, hold, and then breathe out. And we'll do it again. Another deep breath in, hold, and then breathe out. And then last one, breathe in, hold, and then let it all out. Now that is one example of how to regulate your nervous system. But as you're closing your eyes and you're taking these deep breaths, you can continue taking them if you please. I want you to imagine what it feels like to be this confident version of you. What are the traits and qualities and characteristics that I truly admire about someone that's confident? And how do they carry themselves? How are they magnetic? How do they show up when they walk in a room? How do they act and how do they respond when they find someone that's gorgeous in front of them, right? Do they start to minimize themselves and shrink themselves? Or are they feeling confident and sharing that beauty with them? And think of the specific scenario that keeps you stuck, whether it's having a hard conversation with your boyfriend or girlfriend. How does someone that's confident and secure show up? Are they bottling up their emotions and just saying, it's not a big deal, I'm just gonna ignore it? Or do they approach the conversation peacefully, securely, not passive aggressively, but knowing how to share their truth without blaming their partner, learning how to be vulnerable and share their emotions without self-judgment? And think about how their body language looks like, right? Are their shoulders tense? Are they feeling fidgety? Or are their shoulders relaxed? They're standing up tall. They're walking with confidence. They're sitting down calmly, right? They're keeping and maintaining eye contact. They're choosing words to be aligned that both of you guys are in a partnership together, not in a debate. Or maybe it's another setting, it's a social setting where you feel anxious and you want to shrink yourself whenever there's too many people, right? How does a confident person show up in those moments? And I want you to write these all down, right? Maybe they're introducing themselves to other people and they're going, hey, it's really nice to meet you. My name is Jeanette. Or maybe they're smiling, right? Maybe they're not being loud. Maybe they're just observing. They're smiling, right? They allow themselves to not take themselves seriously. They're playful. And these are all qualities and different behaviors that someone exhibits when they are confident. And when you think about all these ways that you can become confident, that is how you show up, right? You start with, what does their daily routine look like? What does their schedule look like? What does their morning routine look like? And if we can embody even a part of those behaviors and show up and act in a way that is confident, then we are a closer step towards embodying who we want to become. And a lot of this work of becoming confident is not just faking it until you make it, because it can sound like that when you're acting and behaving in a way that you do not feel aligned to yet. But this is why we must do the shadow work as well, because we learn why we are capable of embodying these traits. We learn how to really be vulnerable with some of these wounds and triggers that we so badly want to avoid. But we learn how to face them. We learn how to have these difficult conversations and reconnect with our inner child. And doing all of that makes it so much easier to start embodying without resistance, to start embodying without feeling like it's so uncomfortable, I have to shrink myself, right? There's a level where we're not always going to be comfortable. I'm telling you, no matter how much work that you do with rewiring your mindset, learning how to understand different perceptions, right? Change the way that you speak about yourself. No matter how much work that we do, there is going to be that uncomfortable feeling that still arises when it comes down to taking action. Maybe it might not ever go away, but it doesn't mean that you're not confident. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden all the work has disappeared. It just means that you're human. And even the most confident people out there still have moments where they feel fearful, where their wounds still come back up and they start to question whether or not they can do this. But being confident, being fearless is not about feeling no fear, but it's about doing the thing anyways, despite the fear. So take some time to learn about who this version of yourself truly is, right? Like, what are those traits that you really want to embody? And how can you start acting like her? But with that said, I hope this video helped. If you are looking for more in-depth healing and you want more guidance, you can book a one-on-one call, link in the description below. And comment down below, what trait or characteristic are you learning to embody in your confident version of yourself? With that said, I'll see you in the next video, and as always, you got this.